Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man. Is he strong? Listen, bud, he's got radioactive blood. Can he swing from a thread? Take a look overhead. Hey there goes the Spider-Man.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hispanerds. This is Alex.
And this is Kenji.
And we are here to spoil Spider-Man.
The heck out of it.
El Hombre Araña. First of all, I just got to say that it's very, very rare that Kenny and I agreed right off the bat. But it was fascinating for me to talk to Kenny and to for both of us to find out how much we hated this movie.
Oh, so awful.
It was crazy.
Disgusting. You know how many times I vomited? Kid you not, man. They almost kicked me out because of that.
I mean, we could not be further. That could not be further from the truth. We absolutely loved this movie.
So sick.
I'm gonna do 5 sombreros on top of 5 sombreros on top of 5 sombreros on top of 5 sombreros.
And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put infinity on top of that.
Oh, that's so many sombreros. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
By far, in my opinion, out of the 3 Spider-Man movies of this new Spider-Man round, this is the third one is by far the best of the 3.
Yeah.
And that is so rare in a trilogy. Typically, the first entry
starts going down.
Yeah, it starts going down. Typically, the first movie is the best one. One of the few exceptions that I can think of that comes right to mind is the original Star Wars. Empire Strikes Back, to me, is the best of the 3, and that's the middle.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah,
that's the middle. But typically, the first one is like the best, and like you said, it starts going down. In the Star Wars, comparing it to the original Star Wars, I feel like Spider-Man is just like that in the sense that like the first one was really good. The first Star Wars was really good, but when you go back and you look at it, it's pretty slow.
Yeah.
Second one, excellent.
It's build up.
Yeah.
Much.
Second one is my favorite, and then the third one they closed it out really well.
Right.
But the second one for the Star Wars one was my favorite. For this one, this one gave us everything. At least gave me everything that I would have wanted in a Spider-Man movie and more.
And technically, man, this is the part 8.
When it comes to Spider-Mans, Hombre Arañas,
this is part 8,
and the existence of them, this is 9.
No, 8.
Oh, yeah, because Amazing Spider-Man only had 2.
Yeah.
Unless you count Spider-Man to the Spider-Verse.
But they didn't introduce that.
But I technically now do count that one as canon to this one.
Do you think?
I really do. I really do.
I don't know, because they didn't put anything that's part of that.
I mean, they gave little hints. We're going to read through some Easter eggs, but they gave little hints.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Let's get into it.
All right, let's deep dive.
Yeah, we're going to deep dive. You tell me what you can remember.
I'm going to watch it again this weekend.
Yeah. I need to see. I need to see it again. I mean, the movie opens up with Spider-Man crouched on top of a.
Right from the ending from Spider-Man 2. That's how it ends.
Right. Yeah. Well, sort of. This was a little bit interesting
because remember when he goes, "What the?" And
yeah,
there.
And why is MJ
and this
on the ground?
Stop it, they beep it with a horn.
Yeah. Why is MJ on the ground? That's what I can't remember.
Because remember they were swinging towards the end, and she
said, "Put me down, put me down."
Yeah, exactly.
So he puts her down,
and then he went up,
and he's up on top, and he sees J. Jonah Jameson
exactly
outing him to the whole world,
right?
Which I love this introduction. The way they did the introduction here. You see the Sony logo come down.
I love that he's like Alex Jones.
Yeah, he's all in his basement. We're talking about J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah.
But I love too that like the opening scene, you see the Sony logo, then that goes away, and then you see Mysterio pop up. and he at first you hear audio of Mysterio,
Right.
Then you see Mysterio pop up on video, and he he's like, Spider-Man is Peter Parker, and then J. Jonah Jameson comes out and starts talking. Then you see Spider-Man like freak out, and then people start crowding around MJ, so he like quickly looks down, sees her getting crowded, and he jumps down to grab her, and then from there they start swinging all around town trying to get away.
Yeah.
And they end up on a bridge, and then helicopters start showing up.
Right.
So then Spider-Man Peter Parker decides to take it underground,
the subway.
Which makes it worse for MJ. So then they finally get out, and I don't know if you notice this or not, and it's a tiny little thing, and I don't know if it's a special effect or if it's just that Tom Holland is actually pretty strong, but something that I really appreciated when they get out from underneath the subway, and then it's time for them to swing again, she jumps on him, like wraps her legs around him.
Yeah.
And the way she does the jump and the way he's holding her, it's like she weighs nothing.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
This is all him. Man, did you see him without the shirt, man? He's gotten a lot cutter.
Well, he's gotten bigger.
Yeah.
He's gotten
cutter
more,
and
he's
bigger.
got more mass.
Yeah.
But
and she's really thin.
She is. She's real. I mean,
I think she weighs maybe 95 pounds.
No, I was gonna say 110.
No, 95 pounds.
I would say 110.
Oh, you know what? We could look it up. I'll probably say her weight.
I don't think she puts her weight out.
Oh,
I don't think so. But my eyes are better than yours.
No, reason why I feel like, because I have a cousin. She's thin like her, about her height, and she weighs about 95 pounds.
Well, but I got to tell you, my eyes are better than yours, and I can look at a person immediately. I look at you, and I'm like 160. Boom, right there.
You're close. You're close.
I know. I'm telling you, I have a gift. I can look at people and I can weigh them with my eyes.
Yeah. So, see, my problem is I undress them. I try not to look at.
That's a problem. Don't look at me. Look away. But, I would say Zendaya is probably about 110, but let's say between 95 and 110.
Yeah. Okay.
Because she's she has taller the height. I think she's taller than him, and she's very thin. I mean, very lean. So anyway, but
she always cracks jokes about it.
But I mean, it was a cool little thing to see, like the effortlessness of her jumping and him grabbing her and then just swinging off. Right. So then they swing a little bit more. They get over to her place, right?
And did you see that one guy trying to capture it?
No, they get to his place.
Yeah, but did you see that guy trying, like, right when they leave, a guy gets on the car and he jumps and he tries to grab?
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but that's at the beginning though, when they first take off. That's not.
No, that's when he comes down to grab her because.
Yeah. But the part that I'm talking about is the second part when they get out from underground and they.
You're right.
That's when she jumps on top of him again, and then they take off.
Yeah.
So they go to his place, and then the movie cuts to Happy and the aunt, like, and Happy's been crying.
I mean, I'm gonna be straight up. I think I would be crying as well. I'll be no.
So Happy and Aunt May are broken up. Yeah, and it looks like she broke up with him.
Yeah, he was too needy. That's why
he was too needy. And Happy's about to leave, but then they hear noise. Mm-hmm. So then he comes in to the house or into the apartment, and then they open the door on Peter and Mary Jane, and his suit is completely off and he's just in his boxers.
Yeah. And you know what I'm thinking, like I heard this, but I kind of agree with what they said. You know how sometimes when there's like mistakes or whatever, they improvise really quick.
Yeah.
So when Peter's like lowering the blinds and the last one, he does it, but it goes back up.
Yeah.
So he's struggling with it. So he does this to it. So I'm wondering if he did that, improvising, because it actually was malfunctioning, and they just added the web because he did that.
I don't know. Maybe
that'd be kind of cool if he I can't wait to see the behind the scenes.
Oh yeah, yeah. It'd be awesome to get like all the deleted scenes and all that other stuff. But then you see them trying to give privacy, and then And then Peter's like, no, everything's all good. And
Yeah.
puts his shirt on real quick, and then he
Well, no. First, they catch them
well,
without.
that's what I said.
Oh.
Yeah, they both go in and they go, whoa, sorry, and they start closing the door, and that's when Peter's like, no, everything's okay, it's okay, and that's when we see like how big he's gotten,
Yeah,
how much mass he's put on. So, but then he puts on a shirt, he starts following Happy and Aunt May, and he discovers that they've broken up, and then he's trying to tell them what's about to happen,
right.
And then that's when Mary Jane's like, Peter, and she directs him to the TV.
Yeah.
And then Happy's like, is that happening right now? And that's when Peter walks over and he like opens up the blinds to see the helicopters out. So then from there,
it starts cutting to them being in the police stations, and they're interrogating them, right?
So here's where I'm going to rely on you a little bit on this, because from there, is it that the police come in on them, or is it that they go to school first?
No, they come in on them because remember, her aunt's like, hey, she starts bringing out these acts of like they can't do this, and they just still.
That's right. Yeah. So. But by this
section,
time,
whatever she says,
by this time, Happy and Mary Jane are gone. MJ and Happy have left the house, because when the police show up, they're not a part of that that grouping at first. I feel like there's a little bit of time that happens between the helicopters outside.
No, I want to say that it was during that same time. Yeah.
So then they do end up taking MJ, Happy, Ned, like they take all of them into the.
And MJ's like, don't say anything. Stay quiet.
I know my rights. I like Ned.
Oh yeah,
when that guy's being all friendly to him.
Yeah,
and they
played him so well.
He starts spilling the beans. So you're an accomplice. And he's like, can I take that back? So, yeah, the whole crew gets they're at the police station.
Yeah,
they all get grilled, and then it cuts to they're back at home with Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil,
right?
And that's when you see the cameo come in.
I wish that we had a little bit more. I wish that we had a little bit more. Dude, I mean, it was perfect still, no matter what
they gave us. Yeah, he's there talking, and he basically says Peter's exonerated. He doesn't have to worry about anything, but Happy might be in trouble. And Happy's like, what?
And then he's like, lawyer up.
No, he goes, get a really good lawyer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right.
But then you see Peter like look up, and then you see Daredevil turn his head slightly. So they both sense it in different ways. And a brick flies through the window, and all of a sudden Daredevil just pops his hand out real quick and just catches it in midair. And everybody's like, whoa. And Peter's like, how did you do that? He goes, I'm a really good lawyer. Yeah. So that was a super awesome connection. Basically,
he's now part of the world.
He's now part of 100% part of the MCU. He's actually, in a crazy way, he is a part of the MCU and a part of the Sony universe portion of it too.
Right.
So now he's between two worlds that he gets to play with.
Yeah, and you know what, man? I think Sony learned a lot from Marvel. That they now I think they're now understanding the formula.
I know, for example, Amy Pascal, who oversees the Sony division, has basically been mentored by Kevin Feige. Yeah. And Kevin Feige has really like invested a lot of time and basically at the beginning of all this, Kevin Feige, talked to her and said, let me help you guys, let us help you structure this so we can both play.
Because if Sony does it right, then they could juggle now. They could go back and forth in the future.
Well, and they have been doing it, and even the deal that they formed with Marvel ended up being a really great. Like, for example, all the money that Spider-Man makes, all of it is going to go to Sony.
Yeah.
Not a cent goes to Marvel, but the goodwill and the the storytelling,
Right.
everything. I mean, what they've done with the character is so good that it's just going to pay off for
And
Marvel.
I'm just
in big
excited
ways.
that we're getting 3 more with Tom Holland.
I want to talk to you about that when we get towards the end as we break stuff down.
Oh, shizzle, whizzle,
because I
dizzle,
have
nizzle.
a theory about all that.
All right.
But so then from there we see the kids going to school, and dude, I was dying when Peter gets in and the 3 teachers that have been a part of the entire thing.
Gosh, the freaking
Hannibal Buress, dude. He's the coach.
The coach. Yeah,
he's my
he
favorite.
was killing it.
You know you're a murderer. I didn't do any of this. He did it. No, none of the kids did it. There's a shrine that has been built to Spider-Man, Peter Parker, in the school. 2 of the teachers are like licking his boots, and Hannibal Buress, who plays the coach, he's not having any of it. He's like, nah, man, you're wrong. You're a murderer.
There's a conspiracy right here.
He goes, that's him, not us. But the teacher, the white teacher with the beard and the glasses, dude, he's the funniest of all. He's
no, even the black guy.
Well, no, he was awesome because he's like, hey,
if you want to walk, crawl, swing,
whatever you want to do, however you got to get around.
Do your thing. Do your thing.
It was so awesome. And poor Peter's like, I don't even know what to say about all this. And he just kind of like, he walks around. He ends up in that same scene. I think that's when he ends up on the rooftop with MJ. Yeah. And he's just trying to get away from everything.
That's when they're reading the newspaper.
And then MJ's like, that's when we've seen on the trailer. But she's like, it says here that you might have spider powers to seduce women or whatever. And she's like, thank you, my spider lord. And then Ned shows up there. And then that's when you get to see that the 3 of them are trying to get into MIT.
Right.
And then shortly after that, it cuts to basically them getting letters, letting them know that they don't get in.
Right.
Which Steve Thompson.
He goes into the dining and he's like,
he was hilarious. I wish he'd gotten used more because I actually liked the way that he was playing the character.
Right.
But he ends up tipping Peter off to wait. Does Peter go see Doctor Strange before this?
No, he does it afterwards, because after that, when he leaves, he's thinking, and that's when he looks up and he sees the lights of the little wizards, and that's when he starts thinking about, oh, wait a minute,
So he goes to see Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
And they do enact the spell, but it doesn't work. And then Doctor Strange gets mad at him for not going to talk to the lady. He goes,
right.
You mean to tell me that you didn't even try to contest it?
Right.
He's like, I didn't know that I could do that. So yeah, that's what happens. Like Peter and the kids find out that none of them got into MIT. And he feels responsible. Like his friends didn't even get a chance because of just being associated with him.
Yeah.
So he ends up going. He ends up seeing the little lights at the diner where MJ works.
Yeah.
Because that's where all 3 of them get together.
And it's crazy how that diner. I saw a clip where this guy was showing little hidden, eggs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And where MJ works, I forget the name of the diner or ice cream, whatever place is, or cafe. They have like these containers of whatever they sell, and those containers, you see, like when Peter goes to Doctor Strange, those 2 kids that are helping clean the snow. She has one of the containers, like if she went to that diner.
Oh,
and then you watch Hawkeye, the Russians, if you look at their dashboard, like they have one of the cups there too. So it's funny how
we're gonna get to Easter eggs.
Yeah,
So right now I'm just kind of like breaking down the timeline as I remember it.
Right.
So yeah, Peter ends up going to Doctor Strange, and he ends up asking Doctor Strange for help. And what he wants to do is he wants everybody to forget.
Right.
But then when Doctor Strange lets him know that everybody's going to forget, including Doctor Strange, is going to forget him as well, then Peter.
Well, technically, that's not what he says in the beginning. He says that if he's able to reverse time and change it, and he's like,
right,
nah,
but Doctor Strange's like, I can't do that.
Yeah,
because he doesn't have the time stone anymore.
Exactly.
And then
Wong.
yeah, he's like, don't do it.
No, he says don't do that, but then he says something to him that's like, oh, wait a minute, we can make him forget.
Yeah. But then Wong tells him, don't use the spell. And then he's like, we used it for much less.
Yeah.
Do you remember this part? And he goes, no. He goes, see? So, proving his point.
Oh, and then Wong is now the Supreme.
Yeah. That's another thing we find out. Technicality. Because Doctor Strange was gone for 5 years. It automatically made Wong the Sorcerer Supreme, which is pretty funny. But, So then Doctor Strange and Peter walk downstairs, and then Doctor Strange starts enacting the spell, and then as Peter's catching up with the information, he's like, wait, nobody's going to remember me? And he's like, nobody. And then he's like, wait, can MJ remember me? So Doctor Strange starts modifying the spell.
Yeah. And those are the second rings. I realized that those are like, so the third ring, and then he's like, okay, we can't do this.
Yeah, he keeps modifying the spell and then modifies it 6 times.
Yeah.
And so that causes the spell to go haywire, and Doctor Strange ends up having to contain the spell.
Right.
So he ends up containing it inside of like a little glass prism thing.
Yeah, and so in What If? Oh, Easter eggs. Never mind. Go on.
Yeah. So then Peter and Doctor Strange end up having a conversation. Doctor Strange gets mad at him when he finds out that Peter didn't even try to contest the why they weren't being allowed to go into school.
Right.
And at this point, Peter's not worried about himself. He just wants MJ and Ned to get the chance to be able to actually be considered for school. So he calls Flash Thompson, and he gives him the information that he needs of the lady who had thrown a party for all the new recruits.
Right.
So then that's when we see Peter head to the bridge because the lady's on her way to the airport. Mm-hmm. So Peter heads out over to the bridge, asks Spider-Man. Then he takes the spider suit off because it's the nanotechnology, and he's in a suit.
You know what I love about that, man? And because I'm always looking at, I try to get like every little detail. They make it perfect. Like his suit is not ironed or anything.
No,
like
it's all crumpled.
It's all wrinkled because of the so it just makes sense. I love that, man.
Yeah,
I love that they had all these little details like that.
So Peter goes. He asks the lady to roll her window down.
Right.
Starts talking to her. And then in the middle of talking to her, all of a sudden it's like there's earthquakes. And Peter like looks around. Well, he gets the spider sense first. His spider sense happens first, and then he looks around, and then boom, boom. And it's cool too how much they leaned into his spider sense in this movie, the way that they leaned into it, which was different than all the other ones. Like you're starting to see his development more on the spider sense. But then you finally see Doc Ock, like you see one of his arms, and it's attacking various spots in the on the bridge, and Peter jumps on top of the car, and he tells the lady to get out.
Yeah, but she's stuck.
She's like stuck, and her driver takes off, but she's stuck, and Peter's like now back in his Spider-Man uniform,
right?
And then we see Melina pop up, and he's like, "Hello, Peter," and then they start going after it.
Right.
And so they start fighting. They're going back and forth. Boom, 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 boom. You see Spider-Man does a bunch of complicated fighting, ends up saving the lady's car because she's still stuck in it.
That sequence was sick, man.
That sequence was incredible. That is when Doc Ock gets the upper hand.
Yeah.
Doc Ock uses his arms to travel underneath the bridge where Peter is.
Yeah.
Captures Peter, and in a moment that was actually made me like, no way, almost made me think, are we about to see a Peter Parker get killed from an alternate reality, and then we're going to come back to our Peter? Because when he grabs Peter and one of the arms pulls out that blade, and he stabs him, I'm like, oh,
yeah, but his suit basically,
the suit saves him and like bends the thing, and then that's when Doc Ock's like, interesting, and he pulls the nanotech onto his suit. onto his tentacled arms.
Yeah.
Which ends up being the biggest mistake he ever made.
Right.
Because as soon as Doc Ock does that, Peter's system acknowledges...
Overwrites it.
Well, not just that, but it identifies
Yeah.
a new technology.
Right.
And lets Peter know. And Peter's like... gets his heads-up display, and he's like looking, and he goes, huh? And he taps into it. And then we see Peter in a super cool, like... I would have never thought about it in a million years. Was not something that was on my radar.
Right? Yeah.
Peter's Iron Man technology overrides Doc Ock's arms and like ends up capturing himself.
Yeah, and it's funny too because he says that his old quote from the second movie. He's like, "Listen to me."
Yeah. So Peter makes Doc Ock grab the car and grab Peter and
basically makes Doc Ock save the day.
Yeah, save the day. So he ends up saving the lady, which when she comes out, she's like, "I'm gonna talk to him." Right? You know, she like gets all pissed at Doc Ock and goes over and give him a piece of her mind.
Yeah. But because of that, she's gonna be like, I'm gonna put out a good word for you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, him saving her reverses her opinion, and now she's gonna give Ned and MJ a chance. From there, we see he's captured Doc Ock, and does he take him back to Doctor Strange?
No.
Where does he take him?
What's the name? Yes, he shoots him with the thing and sends him over there.
Well, no, he doesn't have that thing yet.
No, you're right. He
doesn't have that thing yet.
No. He gets attacked. He gets attacked by
He gets attacked by the Green Goblin.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, that's when he throws the bomb.
He gets attacked by Green Goblin, and then his environment changes, and then Peter goes, "What is happening?" Now he's in the basement of Doctor Strange.
Right.
That's when he finds out Doctor Strange has magically pulled Doc Ock and Peter out of the environment.
Yeah.
Downstairs in the basement of the Sanctum Sanctorum.
Right.
And he's already locked Doc Ock away. Yeah. Well, yeah. He's got the lizard already locked away. Yeah. But he locks away Doc Ock
and
then quickly gets the audience up to speed. Right. He's like, I was fighting this dude.
Yeah, because he's all cut up.
Yeah, he's all cut up. But he managed to capture the lizard who has already infiltrated this reality through Gateway. Yeah. And so then that's when Peter starts telling him about the elf, the flying elf that attacked him.
Right.
And so then Doctor Strange ends up.
Well, he throws Peter into one of the jail cells, and then he brings him out. And I guess so he can link the connection.
The only reason that he does that though is because he shows Peter what the new gauntlet does.
Yeah.
So he takes one of Peter's gauntlets and then he does a magic spell over it, and then he shoots Peter and sends him into because Peter's like, well, how are we going to get everybody here?
Yeah.
You know, like because there's a bunch of incursions that have now happened into our universe. And then then Doctor Strange shows him what he has to do.
Yeah.
So then, at one point, before Peter goes off to find the next person, he ends up talking to MJ.
He asks, "I'm gonna need help," and that's when he brings in MJ and Ned.
Right. That's right. Yeah. But before that, actually, I think it's right before that. I think Peter starts going out looking for people first without them. Then he gets paint thrown on him.
Oh no! Before that, Doc Ock is all amazed because when he shoots him, he's like, "How'd you do that?" Like,
oh, that's right.
He's like,
yeah, but there's a sequence where you basically see Peter go out first by himself. He ends up getting paint thrown on him.
Yes,
and he ends up trying to scrub it away, and he can't.
Remember, I mentioned the paint.
Yeah, that's. I was going to give you props. You were 100% right that the suit, the black suit that we end up seeing, is Peter's suit, but turned inside out.
But it's crazy how in Hot Toys.
Oh, it's
it does,
beautiful, perfect suit.
exactly.
Yeah,
I kind of wish they would have had like those little. I mean, it's still good. But I love it, whatever.
Yeah,
but,
it's pretty hot.
Yeah.
It's pretty, I mean, no pun intended. It's pretty hot. But yeah. So then you see Peter turn his suit inside out, and then he gets a call from Aunt May.
Yeah.
Because we see a sequence with the Green Goblin in an alleyway trying to hide the glider, and he ends up destroying the mask.
Yes.
And he's having that double conversation with
Right.
himself. So he's trying to suppress it, and the Green Goblin ends up allowing the suppression to happen so he can gather information, which
Right.
we don't learn about until much later.
Yeah.
But he makes his way over to where Aunt May works,
Yeah.
which is like a homeless.
Yeah.
And Peter shows up in his Spider-Man suit, his black Spider-Man suit, and they end up having a conversation. Peter brings him back to the Sanctum Sanctorum underneath, and that's when Doc Ock sees Norman, and they end up having a conversation.
Right.
And then he has a conversation with the Lizard. Then Peter brings in the Scooby Gang, Ned and MJ,
Yeah.
and they end up having a conversation with Doctor Strange.
Right. That's the whole Scooby Doo thing.
Yeah. Then Peter ends up taping his
phone.
his phone to his chest, and so you were right about the suit, but you were wrong about who was swinging. Remember?
Yeah, I was way wrong.
So it ends up being our Peter, our
Yeah.
current Peter, who's out looking for somebody out in like by a power grid.
Right.
Now the cool thing was, and I don't know if you felt this way too, but when he gets there and he's on the ground, and he's looking around, and you see those mounds go up and down.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is going on? Because it didn't even think in my brain, even though I'd seen the trailer, I just completely forgot about him. I didn't even think about Sandman at all.
Yeah.
During that moment, I was too busy looking for Electro.
Right.
So then when you see Electro finally start forming, and Peter tries to shoot him to send him back,
and it just goes through him.
right through him, and he ends up sending the tree back to the Sanctum Sanctorum, and then he gets into a fight with Electro. Then Sandman shows up.
Yeah. Which in the end of the movie, he seems like he was like cool with it, because like he thought it was his Peter.
Right. So he's trying to help him.
Yeah.
Sandman doesn't know what's going on, but he's trying to help Peter fight off Electro, and like try to figure out what's going on. So they both end up attacking Electro, and Peter ends up disabling the electricity in the area.
Yes.
And that causes Electro to go back to his human form.
Right.
But he's more like an upgraded version of himself. Like it's all good looking Jamie Foxx.
Right.
But when he pulls all the power away, now it's just Jamie Foxx butt naked sitting in the field, and they're like having a conversation. And he goes, "Y'all gonna act like I'm not butt naked right here?" And Sandman's like, "I am."
Peter's like,
yeah. But Peter ends up giving him a fireman suit, which actually looked really cool on him.
Yeah.
And then shoots him and sends him over to the prison.
Right.
And then Sandman freaks out because he thought Peter killed him.
Yeah.
And he's like, no. He's fine. But then he ends up having to shoot Sandman as well.
Right.
Sends him into the prison. So now he's caught.
Yeah.
He's caught Doc Ock, Lizard, or the Lizard got caught by Doctor Strange.
But these are the ones that are in prison.
Yeah. Doc Ock.
Oh no! Oh, before that, he also imprisons Groot.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Ned, like, can you ask him if this is a tree or a scientist that's turned into a tree? But no, I mean that's afterwards.
Yeah,
because then what's his name? Jamie Foxx is like, hey man, it's just a tree. It's just a tree. So everybody that's done the incursion at this point is in prison,
except for
Doctor Strange ends up imprisoning him. Doctor Strange shows up once he's captured everybody. The only person not in the prison is Goblin.
Yeah.
And then Doctor Strange puts him in the prison. So now all of them are in a prison.
Well, he puts him in because he ends up. Peter goes to Aunt May, and then he talks to him because he seems like he's okay. And
no, this is after when
no, but then he takes him to go see Doctor Strange. And then
Doctor Strange imprisons him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he imprisons him, and then Doctor Strange. That's where he tells him, like, we're gonna have to send everybody back.
Gotta go. Yeah.
And then he explains like, and they all go through an explanation as well. They're like, well, I was fighting Spider-Man, and then I ended up here.
Yeah.
And everybody keeps doing that. Like,
Right.
I ended up here. But then Doctor Strange reveals, like, hey, man, it's their destiny.
Right.
All of them die fighting Spider-Man.
Yeah, because the one that brings it up is Doc Ock. He's like, "Hey, Goblin, you died." Like, and
Yeah, and he's like, what are you talking about? Like,
Right.
Yeah. So that's when we find out that Doctor Strange and Peter tries to argue with him, like, hey, we could fix these guys
Right.
before they go back and maybe change their fate so they don't die.
and he's like, "No."
But yeah, Doctor Strange is like, the longer they're here, the more things are going to get messed up because they're affecting all the multiverse.
He should have said, like, man, if we fix it right now, it's only gonna be a 40-minute movie.
That's right. Yeah, then it'll be a happy ending. We
Yeah.
can't have that. So Doctor Strange is about to basically use this machine, this cube
Yeah.
that the wizards have around to reset and put everything back in
Right.
order. Peter steals it, which ends up being one of my favorite moments in the movie too. So Peter steals it.
Oh, I know where
He
you're going.
takes off outside, and then Doctor Strange captures him, pulls him back, knocks his soul out of his body.
Right.
And then every time he's trying to capture the cube from Spider-Man's body just keeps
Yeah.
moving it. And Doctor
And I'm-
Strange is like,
that's
how
pretty
are
much
you
just-
doing
It's
this?
a spider sense.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know.
I feel like that's what it is.
I
It's
don't
a
even know
spider
if it's
sense.
a spider sense because technically he's not in danger. It's only whenever his
Yeah.
spider sense only works when something is life threatening. So he's not being
not technically. It's when something's also trying to like grab. He can.
I feel like a spider from what I remember in all the movies and even the way they played it here, his senses typically only work for when he's in danger. In this case, I mean, you could attribute it, but it was
It might not have to be danger. It could be also like to maneuver or do something that he really wants to do. Like he's trying to keep this away from him.
yeah, whatever it was hilarious,
Yeah,
man.
it
It
was
was so and like Peter like starts swimming back towards his
Well,
body.
he's like if he's going through a natural high because he's like, this is amazing. Like this feels really awesome. Like
Yeah, he's like, am I dead? He's like, no, you have just separated your spirit from your body. Yeah, just like, but Peter ends up swimming back into his body.
Yeah.
And then he ends up taking off again, and Doctor Strange sends the cape after him.
Yeah.
And then the cape gets on him, which a little Easter egg to What If,
yeah.
because all of a sudden we get to see like a tiny little glimpse of magical Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, right.
And then and Peter's like, get off me. And he ends up taking the cape off as Peter's making his escape. Then Doctor Strange throws him into the Mirrorverse.
Yes.
So that whatever Doctor Strange does in that section
It stays
does
there.
not affect anything. And then he starts chasing Peter through the Mirrorverse. One of the coolest scenes
Yeah.
is when Doctor Strange ends up bringing the train
Yeah.
through, and then Peter in that sequence ends up figuring out that he's working with geometry.
I love that he started using his head. Like that's how you see him in the animated stuff.
He's like, this is magic. Magic is just
geometry.
Yeah.
I can do geometry.
So then you see Peter start to
Hit
create-
every corner. Yeah.
He builds a prison, basically. He starts to create a prison that is going to hold Doctor Strange, and he gets it done. But another sequence that I love, too, is when Doctor Strange opens up the portal and starts dropping Peter through the same portal.
Yes.
And then he sends the cape to go through after him. And they're just falling through, boom, boom, boom. and Peter's trying to keep hold of the cube.
Yeah.
But Peter ends up creating a prison for Doctor Strange. He ends up grabbing the cube, and he steals Doctor Strange's ring.
What is it called?
It just opens up portals.
No, but there's a name for it. I can't remember the name.
Yeah, I can't remember what the name for it either.
Slinky.
Yeah, Slinky. But he steals that from him, and he traps Doctor Strange inside the mirror universe. Boom, and he's out. Brilliant way for them to temporarily sideline.
Here's the
Doctor
question.
Strange.
I can't remember. How did he get out?
I'll tell you in a minute. We're gonna get to that. So as we're
I
breaking
can't recall
through
that.
everything, So Peter gets back with the box. He gives it to MJ and Ned, and he tells them, I'm going to try to fix these guys. I need you guys to keep this safe in case everything goes wrong.
No, but pause there. How did he get to MJ and like how did he get out of the mirror dimension?
A portal was open. So there was a portal that was already open.
Who had opened that? Doctor Strange?
Doctor Strange had opened it up.
And that was already going to the sanctum?
Yes, because Doctor Strange was about to make his way out because he already had it on lockdown. He's like, I don't need to worry about this kid.
Right.
And he even told Peter, like, I'll be back for you.
Yes, you're absolutely. Yeah, I remember.
But nope, it was Peter flipped it.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'll be back for you later. And boom, takes off. Yeah, and he ends up in the sanctum. He tells MJ and Ned, keep this thing safe in case things go wrong.
Right.
But I'm going to try to fix these guys. Yeah. And then...
Well, not just that, like, push the button.
Yes, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, take care of it, like reset everything. Yeah. So then you see Peter grab all of... And how many is it? Lizard,
6.
Doc Ock...
Right? No, 5. No, 6.
Let's see. Lizard, Doc Ock, Electro... Green Goblin,
Sandman. Oh, 5 then.
It's 5, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So he takes everybody back to Happy's apartment, and he leaves the lizard. The lizard opts not to come up. He wants to stay by himself, so he stays in the truck that they all transferred over to. He takes the rest of the more human-like guys upstairs.
That was hilarious. When the cameras watching them all go in, and Happy's like looking at
why are there men in my house? Yeah, Happy's on his way back, but Peter gets up there, and he starts to kind of explain to each of them, like, I can fix you. That way, when you go back, your fate is different, and you're not affected the same way.
Right.
So he starts working with Norman Osborn, who helps him to create like a chip that's going to help
disable the old.
Yeah, and that's the first one they end up experimenting on, which was a tense moment because when Peter ends up putting the device on his neck,
I thought he killed him.
Right, like Peter's like pretty distressed, and everybody's like, "Oh no!" And then you see Doc Ock like wake up like a reboot.
Yeah,
basically rebooted, and he's like, "The voices are gone. There's no more voices in my head." And basically he's cured.
Right.
And then another sequence that I love is all of a sudden Peter's like, something's wrong. And they create the device for Electro.
Yeah.
They create a cure for...
Yeah, because it was about to hit the last light to fix him, and he ends up...
But you see, like, they've created a couple different serums. They created the serum for the lizard.
Yeah.
They created a thing for Sandman.
Right.
Like, they've made all the stuff, but the last bit is the one for Goblin. And, yeah, that's when Peter, like, he's among all of them, and he's looking around.
Are just going crazy.
Yeah, and Electro's like, what's wrong, kid? What's going on? And he's just, like, looking around. And I think one other person even goes, Peter, what is it? And he just keeps looking.
Yeah.
And you could see him like trying to identify the danger, but he doesn't know where it's coming from.
Right.
Then he, boom, just webs Green Goblin's hand up into the, like, I don't know. I don't think it was a wall. I think it was like a device. But he just webs him into it. And then you see Green Goblin like, nah, son, I've been in here the whole time.
And it's crazy how this was like a little subliminal thing for what was going to happen to May, because he ends up saying like May. Like when he said May, I was like, why is he saying May? Like I know he's probably going to tell her to run, but he just said May, and I don't know. In my head, I'm thinking like, okay, that's foreshadowing what's going to happen.
Yeah, you're right. I totally forgot that Aunt May was in the building while all this is going on.
Right.
And he tells her, run. And she ends up being really smart, and she grabs a bunch of the devices that are ultimately going to end up helping and to affect everybody.
Right.
And she does take off. You see Electro pull off the chest thing that is kind of draining him from his abilities, takes that off, ends up attacking Doc Ock and sends him out the window.
He's like, I liked you better the other way.
Yeah, which kind of insinuated that he was frying the circuit. That that's what it seemed like.
I kind of thought that too. Like
Yeah.
when he knocked him out, I'm like, oh my gosh, he's gonna be evil again.
Yeah, that he'd exploded. And,
Yeah.
and even Doc Ock played that up.
Yes.
Later on, he played that up.
Yeah, you're right. He
but
did.
but he was not. He was already changed, but he was playing it up. So then you see the Sandman like escape as well.
Yeah.
And then you see Peter and Goblin go at it, and it's intense.
Yes.
And Goblin shows his full ability.
Yeah, because I didn't see that ability in
Oh
Toby.
no, he in what?
In Toby's?
Yeah, he did. He beat the crap out of Toby. I mean, literally beat the crap out of him.
But that wasn't like a physical. That was with the bombs and all that stuff.
No, it was physical.
Was it physical?
Yeah, they end up getting a fight.
Because I remember he was torn up. They end
up getting a fight, and he beats.
Yeah,
him.
you're right.
But the reason that he beats the crap out of him, and they even explain it in the first movie.
Holding punches, yes.
Yeah,
gotcha,
he's just he always holds back,
yeah.
like always.
Yeah.
So Peter is fighting defensively, trying to minimize the damage,
right?
While Green Goblin has zero, like there's
care.
no holding back.
Yeah.
He's just like, so their fight sequence is intense, man.
Oh, I can't wait to watch it again, man. Oh, I can't wait to see my because my brother just saw it. I think he wants to go see it yesterday.
Oh, okay.
And so my sister hasn't seen it, or my mom or my dad. So
it's gonna be dope.
Yeah.
It's gonna be dope. So. Yeah, we see them get into a fight. We see them basically, tearing a building
They're
apart.
going through floors.
Yeah.
And,
the Sandman basically ends up escaping.
yeah, he just takes off.
Lizard ends up ripping out of the truck and ends up escaping as well.
Yeah.
During this whole time, J. Jonah Jameson is on site trying to capture Peter Parker in a bad light.
Pause. That's the scene that they cut off from the movie. In the trailer, you know how Happy gets in the trailer, Happy gets there, and then he turns around and the lizard lunges through the alley. Remember, it's like really, really dark, and he lunges through there, like in the trailer.
No. It's two intercut things, because when Peter,
you're right.
When Peter gets magic off the bridge, and he's in, like, where am I? And then
that's he lunges.
The lizard.
So yeah, that was a cut thing.
So it's just a cut thing.
Yeah. Okay.
But basically, all of the villains end up escaping except for Green Goblin, who's in like a killer fight with Peter.
Yeah.
And then Aunt May has made her way almost all the way, or she's made her way all the way to the bottom.
Yeah.
And then you see Green Goblin calls his glider to him. Yeah. And the glider ends up hitting May in the back, and she ends up kind of falling into it like a deeper part of the floor.
Right.
And then after she gets hit, then
he throws the
pumpkin bomb, which Peter manages to actually smack out of the way. It explodes, and he catches the majority of the blast.
Yeah.
So you think Aunt May is okay?
I honestly knew she wasn't, because I knew that his glider has spikes in the.
I didn't even think about it.
I was like, there's no way she survived that. And when she got up, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So I was like, are they playing it? Or?
Yeah. They played it well.
Yeah.
They played it really well. So what we're talking about is, you see Peter survives the blast, manages to knock the pumpkin bomb far enough away, gets over to Aunt May. She gets up. They start having a conversation, and then she starts getting real shaky.
Right.
And Peter's like, "What's going on?" And she's like, "I gotta lay down for a minute." Aunt May ends up laying down. Peter puts his hand underneath her.
Oh, so emotional.
And then,
I'm getting teary right now.
he pulls out his hand, and it's full of blood.
Yeah.
And that's when you know she got stabbed by the glider. And as they're having a conversation, the famous line, she said it before in the movie, where she said, with great power comes great responsibility. But
I heard that this was almost identical to the comic book one. Almost.
No, I mean, Aunt May.
On this one, like, they just flipped one thing, and so it's pretty much all the wording from the comic books, but they just flipped a certain phrase.
No, that's exactly the same. With great power comes great responsibility is exactly the phrase. Yeah, it's exactly. Okay. Yeah. She doesn't say it in this moment when she dies. She said it earlier talking to him, but it just kind of comes up again, like the imagery for me right there. But we see Aunt May pass away right before Peter. By that time, the SWAT team has already arrived, and then Happy makes
and you still see that tear come out. My gosh, that's so...
I know. You see Happy pull up. You see Happy see
Observe
Peter,
them.
and he sees Aunt May, so he already knows what's happened.
Yeah,
and Happy's just like, and then Happy gets pulled out of the car by the SWAT team.
Yeah,
because he's kind of blocking for Peter. Then he starts screaming at Peter, "Run, run!" And then you see Peter escapes. And Aunt May's left there.
Yeah.
Peter
and he's like, I gotta go.
So Peter disappears, and we don't see him for a little bit.
Yeah.
Then the movie jumps over to Ned and MJ at Ned's mom's house.
Yeah.
Or his grandma's house, and they're waiting.
Right.
And
she's
Ned,
like, I'm about to push the button or whatever, and he's like, no.
And Ned has the
Slinky.
ring. Yeah, from Doctor Strange. And Ned like waves his hand as he's talking, and you see a tiny little spark happen. Then MJ's like, do that again. And he does it again, and then a portal opens up. So then she's like, can you find Peter? Can you find where Peter's at? And Ned starts thinking, he's like, let me try. So then Ned like starts thinking about Peter, and he opens up a portal. That's when my theater went insane. Yeah, because the portal opens, and
my theater was quiet, man.
Yeah, we had two different.
I was the only I went like, oh, I was like, and just like a few of the people on the side like looked at me, and I'm just like, I was like, I was just really happy.
Kenny and I had two different experiences. I went to like a 500 seater over in Irvine, and everybody was like so down. I mean, from the beginning of the movie, when the movie first started, my entire theater started clapping. Yeah. And then everybody was very quiet, and like there were gasps whenever, but when the portal opens up and you see Spider-Man in the alleyway, and MJ and Ned start calling, they're like, Peter, and he turns around and he
rushes.
He comes through the portal, and he like lightly steps in, and they like back up, and they're like, who are you? And he's like, I'm Spider-Man. And they're like, you're not Spider-Man, you're not Peter. And then he takes his mask off, and he goes, it's me, it's Peter Parker. And they're like, you're not Peter Parker. And so then they get into this and
like prove it moment, like,
and that's when you see Andrew Garfield. He's the first alternate Peter Parker that we see.
Right.
My theater went insane. Like everybody was just clapping and like hooting, having a good time. Like, so then we see Ned and MJ interact with Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man. That whole sequence is really funny, and he ends up like trying to prove that he's Spider-Man. So he jumps up on the ceiling, and he sticks himself to the ceiling with one hand, and he's just hanging there.
That's not enough.
Yeah. And he goes, what do you mean it's not enough? MJ picks up bread and starts throwing bread at him. And the grandma in the sequence, Ned's grandma, who I think is speaking like I
want to say they're Filipino.
I think they're Filipino. Yeah, I think she's speaking Tagalog in it, and she like asks him if he can please get a spider,
the spider web, the cobweb,
spider web on the corner, and he's like, so he goes ahead and flips all the way up, and you see him crawl upside down to the corner of the house, and he grabs it, and then he jumps down. And so then they're kind of like, okay, he's, you know, I mean, he's a Spider-Man.
Yeah, and he explains, like, what happened. Like, I was, you know.
Yeah, and I ended up here. Yeah. So then Ned tries again, and he opens up a second portal, and then my theater went insane. Yeah. I mean, they went crazy when they saw Andrew Garfield, but when we see Tobey Maguire,
because we haven't seen Tobey
entire theater just roared. It was nuts. So then, boom, you see Tobey Maguire come through.
I love the way they did that, man.
Oh, dude.
I was never expecting them to come out that way. I thought they were going to come out like for some reason, like in a battle scene.
Yeah, like battle ready.
Yeah.
Dude, them, and speaking of battles, they have a tiny, quick little battle in the kitchen.
Yeah.
When they both see each other and they kind of sense each other.
Right.
And they start attacking each other with webbing.
Yeah.
And then they're both kind of like, okay. They're looking at each other. When we see when we see Andrew, he's in his Spider-Man outfit. When we see Toby, he's in civilian clothes.
Right. He has his outfit underneath his civilian.
Which we don't find out until later.
Yeah.
But they start all talking, and Ned and MJ explain to both of the Spider-Men that they were trying to get to their Spider-Man.
Right.
And then both of the Spider-Men, like, especially Toby, he's like, I feel like he needs help.
Yeah,
I
Garfield's geeking out because of the whole dimensional stuff. He's like, oh, I forgot.
That was before Toby comes in.
Yeah,
he's
that was
like,
before...
"Are you talking about multi-dimensional?"
Yeah.
Stuff? He goes, "Yes, I knew it." but then like Toby starts explaining, like, I have this overwhelming sense that your Spider-Man needs our help.
Yeah,
that we need to help him. And then they start going, is there a particular place that is like his favorite place to hang out? And Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, he's like, for me, it was the Chrysler Building.
Yeah.
He goes, it's a really nice view.
Yeah.
And for Toby, it was the Empire State Building. Yeah, he's like, yeah, for me, it was the Empire State Building. And then MJ's like, yes. And then they go to where Peter's favorite spot is, which I think is the top of the
high school,
the roof of the high school that they go. Yeah. And then you see Peter like crying. He's just like, I mean, we see a sequence after Peter escapes, after he escapes, you see him in the rain looking at J. Jonah Jameson, and he's crying in the rain. And then we don't see him again until, and dude, the entrance for those Spider-Men, when our Spider-Man sees them, that was one of my favorite entrances.
You know what it reminded me a lot? It reminded me of Batman.
It also reminded me of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That too.
It reminded me immediately. That was like, I'm like, is this a little Easter egg homage to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Yes.
Because from the way that they're staring to the way that they jump down and they land, and he's like in attack mode. He's like ready to,
Right.
And then they like start talking.
Oh my gosh, man, the nostalgia on this,
dude,
was crazy.
And the way that they start like, hey man, for me it was my Uncle Ben. Like, they start kind of like, we understand what you're going through. Like we understand the pain that you're feeling, and that's when we get to see like a little bit of darkness with Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man talking about like, eventually I stopped pulling my punches, and then people started dying, and I was like, oh my God, like that's insane to think about that.
Yes.
Like, and obviously the Andrew Garfield
you
Spider-Man,
can only get that in Mortal Kombat.
Finish him. But the Spider-Man that we're finally seeing, that's talking to our Spider-Man, our current Spider-Man, you could see that he's suffered and he's come out of it. Yeah. But just to see that little bit of darkness, is pretty crazy. Right. And then you get to see Toby replay his story, and it's just, and then the current Peter Parker is like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like and he's about to send them all back. Right. And then
does Peter say in that moment that he wants to kill him? He's gonna kill him?
He's like, I just want to kill him. Yeah. And somehow they end up convincing him to go through with his plan to fix them all. Right. And so they end up going to the school.
It's in the school. They're in the school lab.
Yeah. And man,
I didn't even realize that's where they were at. They were in the school lab. Yeah.
From the time that all three Spider-Men get together, from that moment on in the movie, it is just pure joy.
Yeah. I mean, it was already joy, but it's enhanced.
It's pure nostalgic joy to see all three of them interact with each other, talk to each other, the way, like, and that bit of writing for the movie is just brilliant.
This is what I want to know. Is it writing, or did they just let them, just be yourselves?
I think it's a combination.
A combination of
I think it's
because the way they were talking, it seemed like they were just improvising all of that.
I think it's a combination. I bet you, if anything, it's like, okay, here's what we wrote. So do that. Now that we're done with the writing, go ahead and give us what you want to do. Because I feel like when Toby's like, no, you're amazing. You're amazing. Yeah. When he's talking to Andrew Garfield, and I feel like that was improvised. Oh, he's like, no, you're amazing.
I need to hear that.
I need to hear that. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, just that this part of the movie is almost too hard to explain or go through or even spoil,
go watch
because it is so good to see all three of them together, to see how they overcome the difficulty of not. Dude, one of my favorite sequences, like, I've never been in a team. It's hard to work in a team. And then our Spider-Man is like, I've been in a team.
Yeah.
You know, I'm part of a team. I'm an Avenger. And Toby's like, an Avenger? That's awesome. What is that?
And Garfield's like, what, is that a band? You're in a band? You're in a band? And he gets all excited. You're in a band? Oh my God. I was dying.
Which is so crazy to think that in their universe, there's
Avenger.
no Avenger. Like it's wild.
Yeah.
It's and then the other sequence that I love is when they're talking about fighting aliens.
No, oh, that one's cool. That one's cool because he goes. My favorite one is that comes out of your hand.
Oh, that was
my
so
gosh,
awesome.
that was
like, so hey, I gotta ask.
Yeah.
Do you make that in your body? And then when they were talking about like, did you ever have any web hesitation or whatever they called it?
Yeah.
He goes, I actually did.
Yeah,
I
had a
did.
web block.
I went through a period of web block. Yeah, dude. Again,
And it's funny because our Peter and Garfield Peter, they're kind of like this. I'm like, oh man, we have to like make it ourselves.
yeah. They're like, man, that's so cool. But
Okay.
oh no, I was just gonna say, just the sequence of them when they're finishing up the project,
Well, let's not forget Ned when Ned's asking him, hey, did you have a best friend as well?
I did. And then he went evil and he tried to kill me and he died in my arms.
and then he goes to the computer and sees Peter and he just doesn't know how to. And then he just leaves and Peter's just like, what the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah, it's too that again. The third act of the movie is so good and there's so much layering that it's too complicated to even describe it all.
When MJ is like Peter and they all look and they're like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm Peter. He's Peter Parker. You know, we're all Peter. Yeah, it's beautiful, man. The whole thing's beautiful. So
I can't wait to own it.
I know, but it's gonna be a while for this one. For this one because it's so successful right now.
Yeah,
they will not release it on video.
Oh, they're gonna try to get as much as.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at 9 months at least.
Right.
In fact, if I had to predict when the Steelbook and everything else is going to be released. 2024. No, I think right before summer.
You think so?
Yeah, that's what I predict.
Wait,
right before summer, like May. I predict they might release it in May
of next year.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, because they're gonna let it be in the theaters for as long as they can.
I'm gonna watch it, with my family.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you're gonna go watch it again with your family again. I don't mind probably watching this the third time. I know
I'm gonna watch it by myself, crying. I'm just gonna cry.
No, but I was gonna ask you because I saw it in 4D. You saw it in regular, and I know you feel like you're gonna get all woozy. Are you cool to watch that like for the third time, but in the 4D? Just to give it a shot.
I don't know.
Just because you're already gonna know what to expect and see, so you can now feel.
I already felt in my heart.
I know, but physically, not.
I consider it. It's something we could talk about. I'll consider it. I'll think about it.
If y'all listening, man, like throw some feedback at him and try to convince him to go watch it in 4D.
4DX. Yeah, I consider it.
Come on, throw some comments towards him.
All right. But so then we get the sequence of them all talking, getting the plan together, and then they end up at the Statue of Liberty, which we got
Captain.
Yeah, we got to see what they were adding to it, which was Captain America's shield onto it, and then basically all the villains show up. All three Spider-Men end up.
Well, no, Peter makes a call to JJ.
Yeah. Our Peter ends up calling J. Jonah Jameson, and
there you have it. He's spilling the beans.
yeah. Tell me about conspiracy. But and that's how they lure all the villains there, which is a great sequence. That whole third act is too much to really explain because so much happens and the writing is so good.
It was so quick.
Yeah, I mean it's so good. Doctor Strange ends up getting freed. From his prison.
And I love that nod. That nod that they did because he says, "I've been floating for." So that just reminded me of what he did to Loki. I've been falling for.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, there's no accidents.
Yes.
This movie was very well written.
It was very thought out.
And heartbreaking to like by the end of it. But the
How many times did you cry? I cried 4 times.
I mean, it wasn't like that for me. It wasn't like I stopped and started. It was more like I got very misty-eyed, like basically from the time that from the time that Aunt May dies.
Yeah.
From that point forward, I just kept getting these like the same feeling that I got from Avengers Endgame.
Right.
When Cap hears Falcon in his ear and he's like, on your left.
Yeah.
It was the same exact feeling. I just kept getting like really misty eyed and just kept, I mean.
Oh no, I was getting tears. I'm so, I'm glad I went and I saw it by myself because there's like snot all over.
And I mean, and when the 3 of them hug, that just broke me, man.
Oh.
That just broke me. Like you see Peter come up and he's like, I just want, and then they just end up pulling him in and they're hugging him, and it's just like it's nuts. Like,
who's the one that's singing "I love you"? Garfield, right? Garfield's like, "I love you, I love you."
but to see that moment and then to also see the moment, I mean, there's a fantastic fight sequence. My favorite fight sequence that I've seen so far in any MCU is Peter going against Goblin, like our Peter going against Goblin at the very end. They did this.
Oh, when he goes full out?
When he goes full out. But they did this beautiful thing too in the movie that I really, really appreciated. The movie starts out at night, and then when the final sequence happens, the sunrise comes up.
Yes.
So we get to see Peter fight a Goblin in full daylight. So we get to see him use all of his like abilities in a super creative way. And then Peter's like, you see that moment, and Peter like, I'm done with this. You're going to die. Everybody else can go free. It's all cool.
Yeah.
He picks up the Goblin's glider.
Yeah.
And he's about to stab
he busts
Goblin.
out a Captain America towards Iron Man.
Yeah. And you see Toby Spider-Man jump in and just be like, I'm not going to let you do this. I'm not going to let you ruin yourself. Like it was such a powerful, cool moment. And then they screwed with us because you see our Peter go basically through visual going, you're right, and he relents, and he starts letting go of the glider, and then Toby gets stabbed by
which that one threw me off because his spider sense should have caught that, unless his spider's like, oh, it's not gonna kill you.
Well, again, it was perfect in the theater because my theater just everybody and it'd be like, no, the other sequence where you were right, and I'll give you props, even though they didn't show it. And this is the other part that got me, as much as the hug.
Yeah.
Peter jumping down to get MJ.
Yeah.
The glider takes him away.
Yeah.
And then you see, and like the way that Andrew Garfield plays it, like the look on his face is like, this can't happen again. I can't lose another end.
And the way he grabs him, he's like, I ain't doing no webs on this one. I'm catching you. Because he doesn't want to do the whiplash.
Yeah, he jumps down. I think he might even have used his webbing to pull himself go down faster.
Yes.
But he grabs MJ and he flips himself in midair, uses his webbing to catch both of them, and then when he lands, he's like, "Are you okay?" And like his voice is just cracking. He's
I'm getting like, oh my gosh, I've seen his face.
I know, and there's no way for her to know what's going on with him,
and he's just really so emotional. Oh my god, he's such a good actor. He's such a freaking good actor.
Yeah. It's just, that whole, like, he should get an Oscar for that. Just for that moment of like,
for best save,
best save, best cry, it's nuts, dude.
Oh my gosh,
it's not. And then to relay that back to earlier when he's telling his story to our Peter, because at that moment you see that connection of like, I lost Gwen, and then things got really dark for me, and I went really dark,
right?
And then to see like, please tell me that you're okay. Like, basically he's begging like the universe to like say, please tell me that MG is okay, and she's totally fine. It's like, oh, it's crazy, dude. It's just crazy. And again, all 3 of them working as a team. Toby gets stabbed.
Yeah.
He falls down. Garfield ends up throwing the antidote. And here's the other thing that I appreciated is that our Spider-Man, our current Spider-Man, he doesn't pull back when he stabs him in the neck.
Yeah.
It's like, bitch, I want you to die from this. But he ends up stabbing him like to give him the antidote.
Yeah.
And then you see the goblin melt. Oh, and here.
And he's like, "What have I done?"
Dude, I got to give major props to William Dafoe as Green Goblin.
Such a good job, man.
And the movie gave us two goblins. They gave us Green Goblin and Hobgoblin, all in the same person.
So technically, not 5.
I know, in a way. Yeah, I know. Seriously.
And then we can't forget about Doc Ock acting like if he's still a villain, and he tricks.
And he ends up coming in for the save. Yeah, he ends up helping out the Spider-Man, which was like...
Yeah, I was not expecting that either.
No, it was brilliant, man.
Oh,
it was brilliant. Like, again, exactly what you want out of a movie. Like, this movie, I know a lot of people can go minute by minute, break it down and nitpick it and see all the mistakes, and it doesn't even matter.
No.
Because this is one of those movies where, again, like you said, one of the mistakes is why didn't the spider sense come up?
Oh yeah,
but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because they chose story over like let's be as perfect as we can in every instance. Like there's this thing that I've really appreciated as I've gotten older, where if you're going to tell me a story and it's going to make sense within the overall general
you want
thing,
it to be cohesive,
then it's okay if you break some of your own rules.
Yeah.
Like, that's totally fine with me. Yeah. Break your rules to give me a better, and again, more emotional
and even if
conclusion.
you break it, I'm going to fix it in myself. Like what I just said, like, he let him stab him because he said his spider sense told him you're not gonna die out of that.
You're not gonna, well,
and even says I've been stabbed.
Yeah, before. I know. Andrew's like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "I've been stabbed before."
Yeah. And who stabs him? It's what's his name? His friend. Remember, he gets him in the side.
Yeah, I think so.
So he probably got him in the same spot.
Yeah, he's like mother. But yeah, I mean, again, the third act and especially the last. I would say the last 20 minutes even is just like one heartbreak after another. I mean, everybody brought their A game to this because Doctor Strange going, it was really nice knowing you, you know, and he's just like, and here's the thing. I don't know if you caught this, but he goes, all of us who know you and love you are going to forget you. Yeah. And he doesn't say, everybody that knows you and loves you. Doctor Strange literally puts himself in that. I'm about to cry right now just from thinking about that. He literally tells Peter, like, I know you. I love you. I'm going to forget you. Right. Are you sure, man? And he's like, it's wild, dude. Like, I hope one that everybody got it through the first run, but if they didn't, you got to go back and watch it again.
This is my prediction.
You're going to cry like a little girl. This is my prediction.
Even though this is his final thing with the MCU, I think that's his last thing when it comes to his own movie. I think he's still going to do cameos. I'm hoping that Doctor Strange is going to like remember him. Maybe in the other one he does something, or I don't know if something's going to happen, but there's going to be... Guaranteed, there's going to be a cameo with him. Well, does it have?
Let's get into it now. Let's get into it because.
Oh wait, we still haven't finished it because he's erased and now he's going to his own apartment now.
Well, okay, so that's what I'm going to tie into this last little bit of conversation about this. Sony and Marvel, they finish off this beautiful trilogy with, in my opinion, and maybe Kenny's opinion, the best of the 3.
8.
The best of the 8. And remember, Sony and Marvel.
Spiders have 8 legs.
And Sony and Marvel are doing something with our emotions because, as a viewer and as someone who appreciates storytelling,
and as a Spider-Man fan,
I look at this movie. And I'm being told by Sony and Marvel, this is truly the end of Spider-Man in the MCU. And the way that the way that we're closing it out is
erasing
we're erasing him from everybody's memory.
Right.
Spider-Man still exists, because he's still gonna Spider-Man,
right?
But everybody that knew him and loved him, and all the access that he had to supplies, and to all that is gone, and literally he's on his own 100%. To me,
which I'm glad. I'm happy because now we're gonna get some Spider-Man, because it's cool. We saw him in Avengers, and that's awesome. But
it was so awesome.
But now seeing now watching like in the future just pure Spider-Man films with his villains and whatever, that's gonna be cool.
I feel like, okay, so now I'm gonna tell you what I feel and hope. I feel and I hope that Marvel and Sony are negotiating. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I'm also hoping this is a red herring, and that they're trying to throw us off the scent, and that the next time Spider-Man pops up, that they're like, ha ha, and then got you, and then they he's still very connected to the MCU.
Well, I mean, and what they could do too. I mean, they're gonna bring in Miles Morales at a point,
at some point, yeah,
and that could be like the passing of the torch.
It could be, but they're already in for sure. The kid, the
Miles.
Art Peter right now. Tom Holland. Tom Holland is definitely in for 3 more.
Oh no, yeah,
for sure.
I know.
But yeah, the way that they finished this movie, Peter goes to visit MJ. He sees Ned come in to the place where she works, and then he decides, like, I'm gonna let them live their lives, and I'm not going to intervene. Like, heartbreaking.
Right.
Then he goes to visit his aunt at the funeral.
That's when he sees Happy. Yeah.
And that's when he sees Happy, and then again, he's like, I'm gonna let Happy not be in my life.
Right.
It's just like, oh, and
that got me. It made me sad because he's so alone.
I almost expected. Remember when?
See, what do you think? I feel like I'm Spider-Man. Look at me. And I have the cat. That's why I want Miles Morales with the cat.
That's right. He's trying to be Black Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly.
But I almost expected the girl with the mole from the first Spider-Man movie when Tobey's Spider-Man moves into his apartment, his crappy apartment, and I almost expected the girl with the mole to show up in this one, like a version of her.
Oh, the really thin one.
Yeah, I almost expected. I'm like,
even the landlord.
Are they really gonna do that? Yeah, like it was.
That would have been awesome.
It would have been an interesting connection.
Oh, but they would have been a lot older too.
No. It would have been an updated girl. It would have been a new person representing.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah, but they didn't do it. But the thing that I was shocked by was that they put him in that super classic
costume,
blue and red suit.
Yeah,
like, so you see Peter. He ends up making his own costume because he no longer has access to any of the technology.
So no more eyes,
no more AI, no more anything.
So like how the clothing.
Well, those he makes on his own. He built those a long time ago.
Well, he built the goggle one, remember?
Yeah,
but Tony did the other ones.
But he's got enough access now, and
he knows how to
do it on his own. Yeah,
I hope so, because I love how that.
The eyes have always been awesome.
Yeah.
That the fact that they're animated, has always been fantastic. So again, the way that they close this movie out was really beautiful,
and I love how it ends too. Like how he just goes right towards you, and like. You see, like, the eyes.
Yeah,
I was just like,
it was fantastic.
You just went into my soul.
And then, and the movie ends. They end up. They have 2 after credits. One after credit is really just a trailer, but the other after credit.
Well, the first one is the one with Venom
with Venom in it, and it's an intriguing little trailer.
Yeah.
To see where they're gonna go with it.
Just entice and see how they react to this.
Yeah, it was a cool, enticing little trailer. The second end credit.
You're right. That's a trailer.
Was literally just a trailer for Doctor Strange 2. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and that looks phenomenal. I mean, it looks incredible, man. I cannot and again, it looks like a story.
Yes.
Like just this straight up. We're about to.
I think that one's gonna be pretty much similar to what we. Well, no, they're gonna be their own thing, but it's still gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
I can't compare it to this movie. Was just like, because you know how they did the Avengers, where they brought in all these actors, but to bring in actors like this, didn't have all those actors, but they brought actors from different movies.
Right.
And to bring right, God, that's never been done.
Right.
They've been doing stuff that's never been done, man. They're breaking walls after walls after walls,
left and right.
They're
All
just
right,
demolishing everything.
I'm gonna read a couple of Easter eggs. There's 30 of them.
Oh my
that
gosh.
that I found. So we'll go through that.
Let's see if I've seen these.
All right, let's see here.
I saw that one.
The best Spider-Man No Way Home Easter eggs. That's right. I don't know if I would call this an Easter egg, but I did love seeing it. Like, do you remember who Dumb E is?
Dumb E?
Yeah. So it basically from the first Iron Man movie is when they introduce him. It's the machine that moves around that helps Tony build things.
Yeah.
So you end up seeing Dumb E
in his room
in Happy's house.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's where he traps him. He traps the goblin with his hands.
Yeah. So first up, what else? A reference to Tony Stark. The robotic arm in Happy's condo is actually Dumb E, one half of Tony Stark's helper arms, the other being U. They were seen in the Iron Man trilogy and Spider-Man Homecoming, and can probably count as being one of the more obscure MCU Easter eggs found in No Way Home. The next one is... Oh, sorry.
Ooh.
Hold on one second. Okay, there we go. The next one is Damage Control. Federal agents...
Oh, yes.
A man played by Succession's Aaron Moad yells outside Aunt May's house in a manner of speaking. He's correct. He's part of Damage Control, a superhero cleanup operation that first appeared in the MCU after Tony Stark's battle with Ironmonger in the first Iron Man. In the comics, the group has existed in various forms since 1988. They were once part of S.H.I.E.L.D., but as of Spider-Man Homecoming, were integrated into the U.S. government. They also are indirectly led to Adrian Toomes becoming Vulture after they took over his salvage crew in New York.
Again... The ground control, right?
No, not ground control. Damage control.
Damage control. So they know a lot more than what they should know, because they knew about Nick Fury not being in Earth, like being in space. Like he's in the outer world.
Yeah, well, they're part of the government, so they know a lot. So, they handle a lot of the.
I just wasn't expecting them to know that.
Yeah, because Peter's like, talk to Nick Fury. He's like, Nick Fury's out in space.
Right.
He's like, what? Howard Stark in the Midtown mural. Peter Parker's return to Midtown High for his senior year is fraught with tension and Mysterio conspiracy theories from one member of the faculty.
Yeah, that's
Look behind Peter in his scene with the teachers, and you'll see the face of Howard Stark tucked away alongside inspirational real-world figures.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Fury off planet. Yet another update on Nick Fury's whereabouts comes in No Way Home. The man from Damage Control replies to Peter Parker, requests to speak to Nick Fury by telling Spidey that he's off planet. His exact whereabouts is unknown, though Spider-Man Far From Home's post-credits scene featured him lounging about on a Skrull spaceship. WandaVision also made reference to someone who could be Nick Fury, with a Skrull asking Monica Rambeau to meet Fury in space. Maybe the upcoming Secret Invasion starring Samuel Jackson or the Marvels will help clue us in Fury's interstellar adventures. MJ's real name. We know MJ's real name is Michelle Jones, but Michelle Jones Watson. That's right. She her last name is Watson, but she goes, I go by Jones.
Yeah.
That is, of course, a nod to the comics and Spider-Man, which stuck closely to that source material as her name. There is MJ Watson. Matt Murdock.
Yes.
It had long been talked about. Yes, Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil, is in Spider-Man No Way Home, as Kevin Feige promised. It's Charlie Cox playing him too, returning from Marvel's Netflix series. What that means for the status of the shows and how they fit into the MCU is unclear, especially with Kingpin showing. I can't tell you anything. I can't read that.
No, I already got spoiled by that
Okay.
because of the cane.
Okay, yeah.
And walking with the cane.
Kingpin showing up in Hawkeye.
Hawkeye, yeah. It's on the floor. Yeah, I saw a gift and I'm like, ah.
But
And I think that's when it, yeah.
But for now, let's deal in absolutes. Matt Murdock is in the MCU and is still doing that whole lawyer thing. During his solitary scene, he sits down with Peter, Aunt May, and Happy to discuss the possible legal ramifications of Spider-Man's identity reveal. Go ahead.
I'm really hoping for this. Where if they could do a team up with Spider-Man and Daredevil.
That would be so dope.
Come on. Because
if
I remember that in the animated shows, man.
And it's in the comics.
In the comic books, yeah, of course.
If the next Spider-Man has him and Daredevil teaming up for something.
Oh my gosh.
Dude.
I'm wetting myself right now.
If the next Spider-Man has him and Daredevil teaming up to fight the Hand.
Oh,
baby.
Oh, my gosh, man.
Baby. Oh, baby. Okay, so let's see here. He tells Happy that he's going to need a lawyer because of his use of Stark technology.
Yeah.
For now, Peter's in the clear outside of the court of public opinion. That judgment comes quite literally flying through a window. A member of the public hurls a brick, which Murdoch somehow ends up catching. Peter asks him how he did that. His answer, he's a really good lawyer. Cheeky devil. Doc Ock license plate. Marvel loves sliding in nods to the first appearance of some of its characters. No Way Home is no exception. During the bridge sequence, the MIT Vice Chancellor's car has the license plates 63 ASM 3. That isn't just a random collection of numbers and letters. It never is in the MCU. It's actually referenced to Dr. Octopus's first ever appearance in Amazing Spider-Man 3 in 1963. Stanley's birthday. Another Easter egg from the bridge sequence. One of the taxis on the George Washington Bridge has the number 1228. That's shorthand for December 28, the birthday of co-creator Stanley. Feast. May is now working for Feast, a charitable organization that helps homeless and those in need. In the comics origins are likely to pique interest of Marvel diehards. Marvel diehards there. Feast is set up by a philanthropist, Martin Lee, a.k.a. Mr. Negative. Fans might know him best.
Negative. That's in the game.
As one of the main villains in the
which I haven't played yet.
Spider-Man PS4 game. He hasn't appeared in the MCU yet, but this could be the first indication that he's lurking in the shadows. A tribute to Steve Ditko, which is one of the co-creators of Spider-Man. What?
Morbius.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Peter and Daredevil going after Morbius.
Hey, or what I'm actually hoping happens is...
While Kraven the Hunter's trying to get Peter.
All the hunting, baby. If you were keeping a close watch on the Feast van that cropped up multiple times throughout the movie, you may have noticed an easy-to-miss tribute to Steve Ditko, the artist and co-creator of Spider-Man. The word Ditko is painted on the side of the truck, which is a nice touch. All the Spider-Man villains and their fates. It feels odd to point out something that has been so heavily publicized going in, but yes, nearly every major new character is pulled from a different universe and has appeared in previous Spider-Man movies. They are as follows: Green Goblin, Spider-Man 2002, Doc Ock, Spider-Man 2, Sandman, Spider-Man 3, Lizard, The Amazing Spider-Man, and Electro, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. A large part of the plot revolves around their ultimate fates in their respective movies. In their own universes, Spider-Man killed them, or, at the very least, helped contribute to their deaths. If they get sent back, as Doctor Strange wants Peter to do, then they will be left to die. Peter refuses and instead attempts to fix them all so they can head back to their own worlds and have a change of heart. In one cute moment, Sandman and Electro swap origin stories. One fell into a particle accelerator, the other into a vat filled with electrical eels. They both agree that they should be careful where they fall.
Yeah. Just be careful where you fall. Pause it right there. You just reminded me about the Peter. I was gonna say Peter Pan for some reason.
Peter Panther.
Peter Panther. When Peter fixing everybody and Doctor Strange not wanting to, because he fixed them and he sent them over there. That just messed up those the
It definitely changed their timelines.
exactly.
For sure. Yeah.
This is why the madness is gonna happen because of all these changes. It's what is it? The guy always says the guy that's gonna be one of the villains. The black guy.
Oh, you're talking about the time guy, Kang the Conqueror.
No, not him. I'm
Or
talking
you're
about
talking
from
about-
Doctor Strange.
Oh, you're talking about what's his name?
The one that trains them and then
Yeah. I can't remember his name right now.
But what's that phrase?
Mordo.
Mordo.
Yeah.
What's the phrase he says? Not the debt goes over something when you do something bad.
Always bet on black.
No, always that. No, there's a phrase he says that like it's gonna come around pretty much.
Yeah.
But
I don't remember what it's called, but yeah,
but-
we'll get to that part in a moment. But let me see. Pretty early on in the movies, the Goblin voice instead of Norman's head gets the better of him. In a fit of rage, Norman smashes the Goblin mask and heads to feast. While speaking to Aunt May, he can be seen wearing tattered purple and green clothes, which is exactly match the color scheme of the original Green Goblin from the comics. I also love that scene where Peter and Aunt May are talking, and you see Green Goblin in the background stealing donuts and putting them in his pockets. Did you notice that?
Yes.
They're both, and he's just he's taking donuts and just putting them
for later.
I'm something of a scientist myself. They did it. They actually did it. Norman Osborn's infamous line from 2002 Spider-Man has been used as a meme for the better part of 2 or 3 years now. I'm something of a, and then blank myself.
Yeah.
Template has been used to poke fun at current events as well as contemporary figures in the COVID era. We get a reprisal on No Way Home. Norman interrupts a conversation in Doctor Strange's basement to point out that he's something of a scientist himself. Why he keeps telling everyone that, we have no idea. Captain America's shield on the Statue of Liberty. You may have noticed that the Statue of Liberty has undergone something of a makeover. It's now been redesigned to include Captain America's shield, though it's not known if it's a tribute to Steve Rogers, Sam Wilson, or Captain America mantle as a whole. Unfortunately, it didn't stick around for long. When the 3 Spider-Men in the movie's villains destroy the monument during the final act's climatic battle, the shield was also indirectly referenced in the Penchlet episode of Hawkeye, with Florence Pugh's Yelena saying she wanted to visit the new and improved Statue of Liberty. The Rogers musical also appears in both No Way Home and Hawkeye. Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man histories. Yep, they're back. Truth be told, we could fill an entire piece with all the allusions to the cinematic histories of both Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. Throughout No Way Home, we're peppered with mentions of their lives, their tragedies that shaped them. Uncle Ben, Gwen Stacy's death, and The Amazing Spider-Man 2, respectively, are mentioned directly, as are the original fights between all the major villains, Doc Ock's master plan from Spider-Man 2, a reactor with the power of the sun in the palm of his hand, is also referenced on multiple occasions. The Amazing Spider-Man also gets a shout-out, with Maguire Spider-Man calling Garfield Spider-Man, who appeared in The Amazing Spider-Man, amazing. Tobey Maguire's Spidey even addresses his relationship with MJ, saying that things were complicated, but they work things out in the end. There are some others too, but we'll get to those.
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man themes. 2002 Spider-Man theme by Danny Elfman plays prior to Tobey Maguire giving an inconsolable Tom Holland a pep talk on the roof. Oh, that's cool. Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man theme is also sprinkled throughout the movie. Be sure to stick around for the credits for the full list of musical cues.
I'm not sure if you brought. I'm not sure if you read it, but when Dr. Octopus gives them back the nanotech, it creates that golden spider. So that's his new suit. Isn't that from the game?
No, it's not from the game.
It's not from the game?
I don't think so. I could be wrong, though. It might be, because they threw everything in here.
Yeah.
The whole kitchen sink was thrown in. So, yeah, it could be. All right, let me see here. Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland's Spidey have hand-built web shooters to catch them. to catch thieves just like flies. Maguire, on the other hand, has organic web fluid from his wrists. This, of course, catches Garfield and Holland off guard, with the latter asking if his web fluid comes out of anywhere else. You could take the teenager out of Queens. Ned is Hobgoblin. In the comics, Ned Leeds was a friend of Peter's who eventually went on to become the third Hobgoblin. I didn't remember that. With how often the MCU mirrors...
Who becomes the third
Ned. In the comic book, Ned becomes the third Hobgoblin.
Oh, I did not know that.
I didn't know that. With how often the MCU mirrors its comic book counterparts, fans had expected Ned to turn to the dark side and take on the villainous mantle. Instead, No Way Home pokes fun at the idea. Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire's Peters reveal how their best friends turned evil. This understandably leaves Ned skittish, and he declares to Tom Holland's Peter that he'll never do that. Happy Hogan still loves Downtown Abbey. I forgot about that.
What?
Happy Hogan still loves Downtown Abbey. Downtown Abbey is a show, a British show, and he's referenced it a couple times. Jon Favreau's Happy has an unhealthy obsession with Downton Abbey, with his fandom first rearing up in Iron Man 3. We get a peek into how he lives in No Way Home with a DVD of Downton Abbey being glimpsed in his condo. The Peters recreating the Spider-Man pointing theme. This isn't quite on the nose as Into the Spider-Verse take on the iconic meme taken from the 1960 Spider-Man series that saw an intimation Spider-Man pointing at the real Spider, or I think they mean imitation, pointing at the real Spider-Man. Still, it's a fun little moment. While putting together a science experiment to help fix the villains, Ned asks for Peter. The trouble is, there's 3 Peter Parkers in the lab, and each of them point at themselves and then at the others to try and identify who Ned wants to speak to. Rhino from Amazing Spider-Man. The very last scene in Amazing Spider-Man 2 sees Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man come face to face with Paul Giamatti's Rhino, who is now charging at Spidey in a mechanical suit.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah, that's when he's like telling him, "Yeah, I fought a rhino." I thought it was a rhino.
Yeah. While swapping war stories about which villains they fought, Garfield brings up Rhino as one of his weirdest, but he's got nothing on fighting a purple alien in space. Uncle Ben gets a mention. In No Way Home, most emotional scene, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield rip off some of the emotional Band-Aid and reveal that they each lost someone, like the MCU Peter losing his Aunt May, that helped drive them on to become stronger. Garfield's Spider-Man mentions Gwen Stacy, who we'll get to shortly.
And he lost 2.
As she merits another entry, and Maguire's Spider-Man brings up Uncle Ben. He even brings up his most famous piece of advice: with great power comes great responsibility, or with great power must also come great responsibility. If we're being pedantic about its comic book origins, those are the words said most famously by Uncle Ben in 2002 Spider-Man. In a tragic role reversal, it's Aunt May who tells Peter those words in the MCU just moments before she dies.
Yeah.
After Green Goblin's attack at the apartment complex. That's what I thought, that she might have said it right before she died, because I couldn't remember if she said it in the apartment with him.
No, it was right after, right before she died. Yeah,
yeah, that's crazy.
And that's when she's like, "I need to lie down."
Electro's suit. Electro's blue hooded look in Amazing Spider-Man 2 is widely ridiculed. Jamie Foxx's Electro thankfully gets a makeover here, looking for a closer to just ordinary Jamie Foxx. In his Electro guise, towards the end of the movie, however, he taps into the MCU's energy and creates a new suit for himself. It's not just any suit. It closely resembles Electro's classic comic book suit.
Yeah.
Man, I love the way that
yes,
the electricity shaped around his face. Toby's back issues. No, that wasn't just a Toby is old now joke. Spider-Man superfans will know that Tobey Maguire allegedly had back issues in the run-up to Spider-Man 2 production. Oh, I didn't know that. A move that reportedly could have seen him replaced by a certain Jake Gyllenhaal for the sequel. Fortunately, that didn't come to pass, but No Way Home just couldn't resist one last dig at Toby's back problems. A Gwen Stacy callback as Andrew saves the day. No moment has shaped Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. That literally, the Andrew Garfield where Gwen Stacy dies, that literally made me cry in the movie theaters, and it really messed me up.
How crazy would it have been, because Gwen Stacy knew Spider-Man, if she would have been in Spider-Man, and in this movie, like, and then they would have seen each other.
It would have been cool to see the actress
and then having to say goodbye again.
Or Emma Stone.
Yeah,
it would have been really cool to see.
that would have gotten insane.
Yeah, that. I mean, there's already so much overload, but I would have
cried 5 times.
I would have. I'd be crying right now. Still, I would have been at work.
Right,
dude. That if they had negotiated that and brought her in, it wouldn't be crazy at all.
No,
it would totally make sense to have Gwen Stacy survive and Spider-Man be the one that die, like they did in Spider-Verse.
Right.
But to have Emma Stone, it might have been too much.
No,
honestly. It might have been too much. But let me see.
I want everybody.
No moment has shaped Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man more than that day he couldn't save Gwen Stacy. That shuddering snap as she fell to her death still haunts the character even in No Way Home. Yeah. But he gets some form of redemption after MJ and Ed are chased through a portal by Lizard and onto a platform on the Statue of Liberty. MJ is suddenly knocked over the edge. Tom Holland's Spidey attempts to save her, but is knocked back by the Goblin's glider. In a heroic moment that matches any in the film, Garfield's Spider-Man leaps in to save her and manages to stop her before she falls in the moment that mirrored Gwen's demise. All right. You ready? Or are you going to say something?
I forgot what I was going to say.
Right. A black Spider-Man. The MCU hasn't gotten its Miles Morales yet, but Jamie Foxx's Electro hopes that there's a black Spider-Man out there somewhere. He also expresses his disappointment that Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man wasn't black.
I thought you were black.
That was pretty funny. Their moment together was pretty funny. Multiverse figures in the sky, Rhino, Scorpion, and more. So they're about to reveal every single one.
Yeah.
No Way Home's final act sees the multiverse fully cracked open and hundreds of people from all different universes about to flood in. Among them, it seems, is Paul Giamatti's Rhino from Amazing Spider-Man 2. We're sure there are others hiding in there. There's a very scorpion-shaped creature in the sky, so this sequence well merits a few more thorough rewatches. Some of the Reddit have also suggested the Watcher, Kraven, and Black Cat make a blink and you'll miss it appearance.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's when the space is cracked.
When the sky is cracking open with the purple.
Yeah.
Lego Palpatine. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
Tom Holland's Peter Parker has long been a Star Wars nerd to help make his dingy new apartment feel like home at the end of the movie. That's the only
thing he saved from that freaking...
Yeah. Oh, well, remember? And Electro's like, are these your Legos?
Yeah.
He places a Lego Palpatine figure down on his desk. The figure previously appeared in Spider-Man Homecoming, was part of the Death Star set he made with Ned.
Yeah.
Spider-Man PS4 moves in the final scene. Tom Holland has previously teased
PS4.
that a move from the Spider-Man PS4 game made its way into the No Way Home.
Oh, so that was his suit then.
And we think that we spotted where, during the final shot of the movie, Spider-Man swings through the city and does a few spins and somersaults.
Oh, wait.
Those moves certainly looked familiar. So familiar, in fact, that we're pretty sure they've been pulled from the Insomniac.
Oh,
title.
never mind.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's it.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Yeah, man, such a excellent movie, and I cannot wait to own it. I can't wait to go see it again.
Right.
I can't wait to just get that experience. I could not have seen it with a better crowd, but I got to tell you, this is one of those movies where I think
there's so much to you missed.
But I think multiple crowds, like going to see it again, I think you're gonna get an excited crowd as the first, the first night. And I didn't even see it the first night. Technically, I saw it on Sunday, so it had already been out by Thursday.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, everybody is like, "What COVID?" Everybody's gone to see this movie.
Right.
It made $260 million on its first 3 days of being open.
Oh man, past that change.
Yeah, it's wild, man. So people are definitely out to see it. The next movie that we'll be talking about and reviewing will be The Matrix. We will come back and we'll see if we'll see what if there's as much love. We'll see if there's as much love as we have for Spider-Man.
And then, what about that talk? That I think you sent me that, right, about Garfield. They're in the talks of
man. I I want. I mean, we talked about it at work. I want a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
And I want to see his life with MJ there, and then I want them to.
You know that one's it's gonna be rated R. Wait, did you say Toby?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Rated R for what?
No, I thought you had said Garfield one.
Why would that be rated R?
Because it's gonna show him like going all out.
Oh, killing people. Spider-Man rampage. But I want to see the Tobey Maguire, like the first movie, and then it piggybacks into the Andrew Garfield movie, and then that piggybacks into I feel like at this point, if they were to do that, they would just be printing money,
gosh.
left and right.
Yeah,
and really, yeah. This proves 100% Sony can do its Spider-Verse movie and just fill it all with Spider-Man characters, and people will be like, yes. And they
100.
already have the template. You have the book.
Yes.
So you already have the perfect villain.
Right.
You have the perfect scenario.
Yeah, just tweak it here and there. For like,
I mean, they don't really need to tweak it all that much.
They always have to tweak certain things just because they don't want it to be exactly like the book.
Well, I mean, what they would tweak is like, to whittle it down to its best parts.
Exactly.
But folks, there's a comic book that's already been made that's out there that is called what is it called? Is it
Spider-Verse?
Is it Spider-Verse?
Yeah. Spider-Verse.
But if Sony wants to make all the money, then right now the next 3 Spider-Man movies, they start to build their own basically Infinity War, but with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And you will see them make all the money.
Right.
Like like there's no way people would flip out to see Spider-Ham. Would flip out to see
Spider-Norm? North Spider.
Yeah, to see all that. It just, man, it would be such a fun, wild. And dude, I don't think so. You know the main bad guy in the book that you have, that he's a vampire.
Yeah,
you know and he basically
eats the spider.
Have you read the first series of books that he came through? Because there's another set before.
If I have, I don't remember. I don't have that memory like you.
I'm gonna force you to buy it because it's in a graphic novel. You're gonna love it, and then you're gonna flip out because there's a story.
They don't sell that at Stewart's, right?
They sell. You can buy it anywhere, but I would suggest just getting it from Amazon. I'll show it to you after. I'm telling you, you're gonna flip out because the possibilities of the stories of where they could go. They could literally end the next 3 Spider-Man movies. They could make them about that instead of Kraven. Yeah. They could make it about that guy. They could end it with Spider-Man dying, and then you could see the resurrection of Spider-Man and how that happens.
Yeah,
and it would totally make sense. You would flip out. Flip out. It's one of the best stories that they've ever done.
Oh my gosh! So there's so many
good possibilities. So.
And then Blade, man. Like Blade is coming up.
I know. If Marvel doesn't end up doing the Midnight Suns, which is basically all these different, like it's Ghost Rider.
Oh,
Blade,
yes. I think they're gonna go there.
If they end up putting all those guys together,
and they gotta do it quick. That's if they want to use the same actors, but just because they're getting older.
I don't care. I don't make them 100 years old and then CG them. Let's do this.
Yeah, I mean, what's his name? Did a good job as Hobgoblin, and
dude, and he was William Dafoe was saying he wanted to do all of his own stunts.
Yeah,
so they let him. He's 66 years old, and he went for it. Yeah. So, come on, son.
But did you see his pictures afterwards? His face was all purple, man.
Yeah,
he got beat up.
Oh, that's okay. That's what you do. You know, when you commit.
Yeah.
You know. So anyway, guys, thanks for listening. Thank you for letting us spoil Spider-Man.
Sorry, man. Go watch it.
Yeah.
You should have watched it.
Can't even spoil the 3rd act because there's so much good stuff going on, and it is such a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
There was, for me personally, there was no lag in this. Everything
was
just, it moved really well.
It was
excellent. I have to say, even though there's a lot of crazy like action and violence, I would definitely recommend this for kids.
Yeah.
I there's only one moment where they cuss, and it's Doctor Strange, and it's pretty funny.
Oh,
but that's it.
Yeah.
Like, it's excellent.
I would love to watch this like once I own it. I want to watch. It'll be cool to watch all three, but to actually just watch the second one and the third one because it just it goes right with it.
Transitions right through. Yeah.
So kind of like
I agree. So, guys, thank you again for listening. Thank you for thank you for visiting us. Thank you for listening every week. We appreciate you.
We love you.
We love you.
Just like Garfield.
Eat your vitamins. Drink your water. Eat your vegetables. You are amazing. And please, you could follow us on Instagram. You could follow Hispanerds on Twitter as well. We have Hispanerds on Instagram. We have Hispanerds on Twitter. And we also have Kenji Art on Instagram and Alex Iniguez Art on Instagram as well.
Yeah.
So, you can find us there. Anything else?
No, that's pretty much it, man.
All right, man. You guys have a great weekend, and we will talk to you next week.
Hasta luego.
Goodbye.